Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pre-game show for ACL Brisbane 2015. I'm in Maniac, joined by Mike Star. We have an exciting show ahead of us tonight. Mike, we have so much information to go through tonight for all of our viewers here on twitch.tv/ACL Pro. Brisbane, it's shaping up to be a big event indeed.
It really is just around the corner, and I really don't know what I'm more excited for, the actual event itself or just this pre-show where we are going to just be revealing all this juicy information. As you can see there, May 30th and 31st, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare and Halo 2 Anniversary. Great teams competing for both those two teams, and quite a lot at stake for both those games.
Yeah, there really is. Call of Duty offering up a $3,500 prize pool, and Mike, a whopping 10,000 MLG Pro points. That is some tasty points there for our Call of Duty players.
It really is, but for those Halo fans and for those Halo gamers competing at the event, they will have a share of $1,500 as their prize pool to be competing for over that weekend.
Halo finally back at LAN, baby, here at ACL.
Back.
It's been a long time in the making. You know, I'm kind of salivating a little bit. Please excuse me, Mike. I'm very excited to see Halo back. And, you know, there's been a great response from those out there. We only have 8 spots for ACL Brisbane. 6 have been taken. And, Mike, I'm pretty sure there's only a limited time left for those last 2 spots.
Of course, registrations will close at Thursday, 11:59 p.m. So if you're a little bit unorganized, if you're unprepared, you haven't gotten your team pass yet, I would really recommend that you get that sorted ASAP, because as you mentioned, only 8 spots. There's 2 spots remaining, so you have a little bit of time, but Thursday's only a couple of days away.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. Not long left, and we'll be seeing the teams that'll be shaping up for our Brisbane event. However, we're going to be going through them right now. So, ACL Brisbane, our Halo 2 anniversary paid teams. Right now, I'll go through the teams, and then we'll quickly go through the lineups. So we have Citadel Gaming, Terry. Team Terry, I've seen these guys around. They've been a mock-up team for a couple of years now. I remember these guys back at ACL Gold Coast where they played around. A couple of guys off the old Immunity squad in there. Team Positivity, Nemesis, Second Best Evolution, and Infamous. I think we'll quickly just break these teams down as well. Mike, tell me, who's in Citadel?
You got Lunchy, Skull King, Tracy Trace, and Armada's World. Now, they've been actually a team for a while, you know, representing that Citadel Gaming brand. They've actually put some great, results in those online competitions leading up to this event as well. And, you know, they've been sticking together as a team. They've been practicing, and they've been probably one of the actual teams that are a proper team leading into this event.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. But they're up against some tough competition here. Terry, I'm Hef Intel. The man, the myth, the legend, Hef, he's back on the scene. I am really excited to see my old friend back in the competition. Joining him will be Domes, Hugs from Sorty, and Medler. I've got to be honest, I don't know who Hugs is, but I've seen a couple of big names there, and I'm sure right now, after our first 2 teams, I mean, it's already looking exciting.
It really is. And I mean, after that, you have Team Positivity, which, you know, they changed their team name a little bit later on to that, which I think represents everything. You got Purple Haze, Albatross, Blaze, and Finding Dino. Now, just highlighting Blaze for a minute, he competed at the highest level of Halo as well in this local region. And I mean, coming back into this game alone, just for other various online competitions, he was consistently taking them back to back to back in pickup teams all the way around. Dino helped him in that respect as well. And I mean, the names Albatross and Purple Haze are familiar to those Halo players as well. So it's quite a formidable team. They
are very well-known names in there. And just touching on Blaze, I remember a top 10 we did back in the day where he took about 3 spots, including the top one in there. Many times he went on the old ACL Plays of the Week, so make sure you keep an eye on that guy. Of course, Nemesis, we've got Oz Gohard, Evsy Man, Electrics, and Juz AU. Juz, a little bit of the more you know moment here, Mike. Juz was on my first Halo competitive team back in 2009 where we failed miserably and I first became a caster. So, going to be very excited to see old Juz back on the scene. Watch for him raging. He's probably bringing a few backup controllers.
Well, I guess that's why he probably sparked the beginning of his career then after you became a caster, because he didn't have anyone holding him back. Either way, moving on to Second Best Evolution, which is one of the teams I'm most excited about. You got Benno, Get Dark, Ads BBR, and ACL Codestar. Now, Benno, been playing both games, Halo and Call of Duty, competing at the highest level possible. He's competed internationally for Halo. Good to see him come back as well. But you also go, I mean, Ads BBR as well. That BBR name is just famous.
It really is. BBR, for those who don't know, back in, I believe it was 2009, maybe in 2008, one of those years, competed over in Germany for WCG for Halo 3. So that was really exciting. They were the original God Squad BBR for Halo 3. And then, of course, you saw these young guns come in the scene. Benno was, of course, from Team Evolution at the time, along with Codestar, who's in there as well. So former teammates. Benno, of course, was later known on Team Immunity, went over to the States a couple of times to compete over in MLG, and Dark, one of the underdogs of our scene. He's had a lot of high place finishes at local LAN events. He's really well known in the Halo scene. So personally, this is going to be, they're a top 2 team. This team and potentially Terry. Then again, what we've gone through so far, you cannot rule them out. And of course, Infamous, that's a squad right there as well, at least 3 of them.
I mean, they haven't completely finalised their roster, but it does consist of Gom Nerds, Jaden, and Fram. Now, they're still looking for a 4th, so maybe they haven't finalised it yet. Maybe send them a message if you're looking for a team as well, and maybe they can hook you up with the last-minute spot there to ACL Brisbane. Either way, that's the 6 teams currently registered. Still two spots remaining once again. So if you do want to sign up for Halo at ACL Brisbane this weekend, be sure to go ahead and get your team pass before registration closes at 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. But that's the Halo 6 teams currently competing. Because registration, of course, isn't closed, the pools aren't finalised yet. But either way, we are looking at some exciting stuff. Now, there was an online round last weekend. They're run by Halo Australia, and there was not every single player in these LAN teams actually competed. Now, the thing was that a couple of teams played in pickups just to get those essential seeding points for this LAN. And, I mean, these players still managed to perform, and it had some great Halo. So, with the game, being at a stable point in time, with these teams finally ready to experience a LAN for the first time in Australia in years, I think it's going to be a great turnout for Halo.
I totally agree, Mike. And you just mentioned the online qualifier. We'll have a look at the structure of how that will run in a second, how it leads into this competition. But I just want to say, circling back, $1,500 is our prize pool for this first, inaugural Halo 2 anniversary competition for ACL. I'm sure it's going to get bigger and better throughout the year. So we'll have a quick look at our structure right now. So you mentioned the online qualifier. That's already happened now. Of course, Mike, 2 more teams could come into this where we'll have a pool play of hopefully 8 teams where it will determine the seeds for the double elimination bracket. And there, of course, is where we'll play it out for the winner.
Yeah, I mean, that double elimination bracket is where it all comes down to. You have those 2 chances. That winner's bracket, if you lose once, you go into the loser's bracket. But the way these teams have been playing, it's just, you just don't know how things are going to turn out. You don't even know how that pool play will turn out. And, this Halo is just, those teams are just so widely spread that it could go either way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I just wanted to mention, while we're on Halo still, that the 2 spots that are still available for teams, I just want everyone to know that when you do pay your entry fee and you come along to play Halo at ACL Brisbane, thanks to our amazing sponsors, specifically this time around Astro and BenQ, all of your equipment has now been supplied, except for, of course, as you can see there on your screen, your controller, headset, associated adapters, and game disc. That is required to play, but consoles, monitors, and all the necessary cables for them will be provided via ACL, thanks to Astro, BenQ, and, of course, our friends at Xbox. So, exciting stuff there. And look, easy to come along. It's never been easier to compete in an ACL event.
It really is the easiest LAN event for Halo in this country, in this region. Everything's provided for you. All you need to do, once again, bring your headset, your controller, your game. You can just fit that in a small backpack.
Everything's easy but the competition, Mike.
Exactly. And I mean, some players might even be thinking that's going to be easy enough as well.
Yeah, well, some players might be. I'm sure there's some confident players. I know there's a few personalities in those squads, so I know there's been a little bit of bants, the old bants on some of those Facebook pages and along, of course, in the Twitter sphere. But look, that's what we love to hear. So that pretty much sums up Halo for us at ACL Brisbane, guys. I hope that you're going to be tuning in to all of the action, or you'll most probably, hopefully, be tagging along. Obviously, spectators are always welcome at our ACL events as well. So now, this is what most people, no doubt, have been waiting for.
Yep.
Call of Duty, of course, will be happening at ACL Brisbane. How can it not be? This is the console explosion, this ACL Brisbane event, where we will see PC return with our next event in Sydney. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But look, let's get straight into the Call of Duty action. Now, we need to touch on pool play. Everyone's here waiting to see the pools. We'll start it off with pro pool play.
I think it's pretty stock standard here for your pro pool. You got Plantronics Mindfreak just coming in first by quite a margin. Then coming in second, you have Textbook Black. Avant T1 Dotters coming in third, and then Uproar Ignitions clinching that fourth and final spot.
Yeah, and look, we always love to see that with these guys. I mean, Plantronics Mind Freak, we always knew that we were going to be in there. Have you got any thoughts on the other three teams? Avant T1, I mean, that's a household name surely by now, but Textbook Black and Uproar Ignitions, what are your thoughts on those so far, Mike?
I mean, you look at those rosters, as you mentioned, just touching back once again, Mind Freak, definitely that stock standard team that you always expect to be reigning in that Pro Pool. Now, Textbook Black, it's a little bit more of a pickup team, but those players themselves are widely renowned. They've got a lot of points behind them as well, and they might not be competing together normally, but for this event, they've decided, you know what, because of those age restrictions, we're going to compete, and we're going to see if we can give teams a run for their money. And I mean, so far, I believe they have been online in online competitions and such. And then you got, your normal Avant T1 Dotters lineup, which is definitely a dominating force. And then, I mean, the team from New Zealand, Uproar Ignitions, ready to make a standpoint. And, I mean, they're proving they haven't even attended the event, and they're in the Pro Pool. I think that makes quite a stand for itself as well.
I really think it does, Mike. I cannot wait to see what comes out of the Pro Pool. But, of course, where the majority of the action will be happening, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of upsets as well, is in our open pool play. So we'll have a look at our open pools now. We're going to be having 3 pools of 6 teams. Now, for those who don't know, Mike, originally ACL said that we were going to have 20 teams for Call of Duty at Brisbane. We were going to have the 4 pros, and you had 16 teams in open to go through eventually into the 16-player double-in bracket. However, those final few seconds of cutoff, that last spot, we just got influxed, and 3 teams at once tried to register, and there was nothing that we could do. Look, they were that keen. They had to fight it out, and instead of fighting it out, we're like, you know what? We'll accommodate it. We'll get them in. So it was 22 teams now at Brisbane, which leaves us with 18 teams in our open pool play. So let's break it down, starting off with Pool A.
You have 6 teams per pool. I think that's an important part to highlight coming up. For Pool A, you got Skyfire, Textbook Gaming, otherwise known as, of course, Textbook White, I guess you know, in the other end, in comparison to their Pro Pool sister team. Then you got Plantronics Envy, Taunt, Mystic Gaming, and Cry Wolf, finalizing up that Pool A.
So that's Pool A, and into Pool B, our 6 teams here are going to be Incept, 4N Sanctum. I've seen those guys a lot playing lately, Mike. Very impressed with them. Citadel Gaming, F7 Stimulate, Dynamite Esports, and Sway Gaming. Off to Pool C.
For Pool C, we got Mega, Trident Esports, Generation Orb, True Ambition Naga, Frequency, and True Ambition Odin as well to wrap that up. I mean, 2 True Ambition teams in one pool is not going to be an easy feat either.
No, it is not going to be a good one either. It's not going to be good for them. Maybe, potentially, they might both go through, but sister teams in the same pool can get a bit nasty. You know, there might be something about knowing each other's gameplay and whatnot, but generally all these teams scrim against each other. But they are your 3 pools. Mike, my excitement levels just almost cannot be contained right now. Seeing the teams and the quality of players that are going to be showing up to this event, it's just going to be intense.
It really is. And I mean, you looked at those pools, you look at that Pro Pool as well, the open pools, the skill level between them has been rounded out. So it's going to be a crazy series. Remember, the way the format works is that you're going to be having those top 4 teams from each pool advance over into that bracket, leaving into that championship bracket, and leaving those bottom 2 to face off in a consolidation bracket as well. So every match will count, every map will count in that. And from the way those pools are laid out, it seems like it's going to be an interesting pool for each and every one of those matches.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. So we'll go into the structure of the tournament and how it'll run, as you touched on in just a second. However, I just want to break down some of these teams for those of you playing at home that may not be familiar with these guys too much. So we're going to have a look at our teams right now. And of course, at the top of our list, you're going to be having Plantronics Mind Freak. For those who don't know him, it's a household name, but look, we could have some newbie viewers at home. You're going to have Buzzin, Dens, Shocks, and Fighter. Now, these guys, they're probably, I guess, I would go so far as to say famous here in the Australian Call of Duty scene. They've just come back from a very impressive 6th place finish over in the Call of Duty Champs back at the end of March. And, they've been playing really well, not so well at their last international trip, but I know the guys have been practicing hard and they've always dominated at our local ACL events.
They really have it. I mean, they've been to more international trips than just the Call of Duty Championships as well, competing, ESWC, Gfinity as well. They've been around the globe right here for Call of Duty, and I mean, they're going to be back here for their first ACL event of the year. And I think they're really going to be wanting to make an impact. Coming in, of course, this list is just generated off the time that these teams registered. So you can see Mindfreak getting in nice and early as well. Just want to point that one out.
The boys are keen.
Yeah,
the boys are keen.
They definitely are. For that second registered team, we have 4 in Sanctum. Of course, Flares, Carry, Wanted, and Nimble. Once again, you mentioned we've seen this team quite a lot, and they've definitely been wanting to make an impact. Of course, in that pool play, it does seem like they're going to be one of those teams to try and hit the mark early.
I'm a fan of this squad. I love what I've seen from the 4N Sanctum boys, but I just noticed who's below them. Textbook Gaming. Yeah, they've got their sister team over in the Pro Pool, but just here, Cloudy, Cloudy, Mara, Lambo, and Jazzin. These are names not to be trifled with either. And I mean, you wouldn't really want to be caught off guard in pool play just thinking that you're going to stomp these guys because it may not happen.
You really don't want to be caught off guard because, once again, they can pack a punch. And that's another team that we have been seeing quite frequently through our broadcasts over in the last couple of weeks as well. But moving on, we've got Avant T1 Dotters, another team over into the Pro Pool. You've got Izze, Hysteria, Hopi, and Wolfie coming in third for that Pro Pool in terms of Pro points overall. Being recently reformed, played a couple of 5Ks throughout that period as well. They've been topping the board in high placements, and this land, they're going to be ready to make a serious impact.
This is the team out to look out for. I've said that for a lot of them, but I mean, as we go through here, I'm going to stick with this. I am so curious how this new T1 Dotters lineup is going to play at LAN, because obviously Iskar2's just come over. He went over to Call of Duty Champs as well. His team didn't go as well as Mindfreak, but I mean, this is the guy who back in 2014, his team came 5th. You cannot overrule that. And then, of course, looking at the squad here, Hysteria, Hopi, and Wolfie. I mean, Hopi's always been a top player in both Halo and now, of course, Call of Duty. Hysteria and Wolfie, great players in their own right. But obviously, look, I'm not going to dive into all of the drama or what happened or what didn't happen, but I mean, there was obviously a big split there from Isse's former team. So I think curiosity is the word I would use. Curious and excited to see how this team's going to go.
Not only that, but you mentioned that grudge match, and it's just going to be interesting to see how it will play out on a LAN event basis as well. Because if those teams match up, that'll be the match of the competition, in my opinion. But next up, we have Sway Gaming, consisting of just Sway, Tank Engine Sway, Twisted Sway, and a Gigi Sway as well. So, they're looking to come into this competition, maybe more of an amateur-based teams in comparison to our Pro Pool teams, but they're still, every LAN event is an opportunity for teams to make an impact. All it takes is one great event to put yourself on the map.
Well, this is where the teams can step up. Maybe they're all just running on DodoNet and they need to jump on LAN to prove that they're the next Mindfreak. So we're looking out for Sway as well. The next team, Incept, where you've got Mr. Invincible, Excite, Asters, and Lakey. Now, I'm very familiar with pretty much all of these guys. Excite and Asters have always impressed me, but Lakey and Mr. Invincible, can't overlook them. This is like, to me, this is like a bread and butter squad. Like, they always show up. They play really, really well. I mean, they have potential to pull out these all-star players and these 1v4s, sure. But I like that they're just really consistent, these players. Like, they rock up, they do their thing. So, especially, I've seen Excite and Asters a lot. So, I mean, you got to look out for this team as well.
You definitely do. Next up, we have Skyfire. That consists of Azzy, Dean, Quincy, and Bundo. Now, it's a little bit of a fun fact between these teams because, they might not have been the team for the longest period of time, but they've been pretty determined to go ahead and take this one out. Of course, 2 of their players having competed in this year's Call of Duty Championships in LA. The other 2 having competed at the regional finals in Sydney as well earlier in the year. So they've got quite a lot of experience behind their belt, and I don't know how they've been going behind the scenes. Of course, that 5K, a couple of weeks ago was the first time we've personally seen them, and they made a pretty good impact there, but it's all about if they can bring it on LAN.
That's right, but the thing is, they have the LAN experience. Of course, you mentioned Bundo and Quins, formerly of Integral. They played over on the biggest stage for Call of Duty. Dean and Azzy, the second biggest stage for Call of Duty, got to the regional final, so a lot of LAN experience here. Look out for these guys. But, of course, our next team is going to be one of 2 True Ambition squads in the open pool. We've got Mets, Jabbo, Frosty, and Heptic. Now, Heptic, sorry. So, one of 2 True Ambition teams. These guys, I see them around a lot. Very active in the competitive scene. You see them participate in a lot of Does Play events. Now they're coming to the first LAN event of the year. Can't wait to see how these guys go either.
Next up, you have Taunt, consisting of Glazer, Matman, Lynx, and Carnage. Now, having a little bit of some roster issues coming up into the event, they had to make a last-minute change, which, of course, does bring Carnage into that lineup. But, I mean, he's going to be traveling all the way from the other side of the country, from Western Australia, I do believe. So, you know, his most likely first LAN experience, I'm willing to bet, as it's not easy to get from that side of the country to here to Brisbane next weekend. But I'm interested to see how they go as a team here for this event.
Yeah, I'm definitely sharing curiosity there. Next up is the second Tour Ambition squad, Naga. We've got Broxy, Darks, Why So Smiley, my man, and Pastels. I mean, another squad, these guys are kind of hit and miss, I've seen a lot of the time. But, you know, again, anything can happen at LAN. You know, maybe this is one of those teams that can upset a few of the more well-established teams.
Possibly, of course. Then we got Generation Orb, consisting of Jinx, Blaze, Lucas, and Mufasa. Now, haven't heard too much about these guys, if I'm honest, leading up into the event, but that's not always a bad thing. You can always go with that underdog card,
That's all right.
And then be able to surprise everyone and make a mark, as I mentioned earlier.
That's all right. That's exactly right. Generation Orb, again, could be the next stars of the LAN scene. We'll just have to wait and see. Mega up next. Mega, Eminence, Perko, Vanish, and Rival. Now, of course, Eminence has been flying around the place, coming to a couple of local scenes. I know he was at the Does Play LAN a little earlier in the year, and now, of course, going straight here into the ACL event as well. I mean, his new squad. Look, I know a couple of those names there. Vanish, I know him mostly from his Bundo Vine, to be totally honest, which I was a big fan of Vanish. Big fan. But no, look, seriously speaking, I'm curious to see how these guys go as well.
And it's funny you mention that because he's actually, you know, as you mentioned, Eminence coming from New Zealand, going to be teaming with 3 Australian players for the first time, I do believe, for him for a LAN event. So it's definitely going to be some exciting stuff for him. Next up, you have, of course, Textbook Black, another team into the Pro Pool, coming in second seeded for that Pro Pool as well, consisting of Textbook, Zuzu, otherwise known as Zeus. I do believe he's going to be rocking that Zeus tag as well. Did not be able to gain access to that Zuzu tag. Then Swifty, Barnsey, and Verenzen as well. Once again, you know, I mentioned about it when we first revealed the pools. A little bit more of a pickup team, you know, consisting of players all over the place because of that, you know, 15+ rule. The faction not able to compete in their full form. This is going to be their, you know, sort of their roster to go by, and you know, representing Textbook as well. It's definitely once again quite a interesting lineup and a lineup surely to do well.
Yeah, it's looking strong, and look, I can't wait to see what they do. As you said, there was that age restriction that's in place. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. We might touch on that a little bit later. However, moving straight on, Mystic Gaming, we've got Immense, Trent, Shlomo, and Grom. I'm going to be honest, again, I don't know too much about these guys. Hopefully they can show up and put a show on for us, though.
Hopefully. I mean, next up, then we have Uproar Ignitions. Now, one of my personal favorite underdogs of the event. Even though they're in the Pro Pool, I'm calling it as an underdog specifically because of the players' predictions leading up to this event. Everyone seems to be, I don't know if it's intentionally or they just keep forgetting that a New Zealand team in full force is coming over, but Ignition seem to be ruling out of a lot of these players' predictions, and I'm tipping them to do fairly well at this event. They already proved as such by going to the Pro Pool. I mean, consisting of Hydra, Killer Pie, Scrism, and Bakabek, 3 of those players competed here in Sydney. They had a couple of roster issues. A couple of their players went back and forth, but now with Killer Pie back in the roster, they picked up a new 4th of Scrism. I think they're going to do well, and I think they're going to, you know, put everyone's words. You know, they're going to put their words to, you know, where their mouth is.
I'm calling this as a top 4 team. I have a lot of faith in this squad. I've seen the Kiwis do really well, and of course, Bakabak and Killer Pie specifically, they've done really, really well for themselves. And, you know, I'm glad to see that they have such a strong lineup here heading into ACL Brisbane. So, guys, make sure you keep an eye on them. Next up, though, we do have Dynamite Esports. We've got Dismal, Krivex, Rixie, and TZ, all of them with a DNT in front. Now, this squad, again, a couple of names not as well known as the others, but still expect them to turn up at LAN.
Definitely see a couple of familiar faces, of course, from previous Call of Duties competing once again in this one. I mean, Rixie, he made a big impact there in Black Ops 2. Didn't really turn up that much over in Call of Duty Ghost. Might have taken a little bit of a break. Good to see him back. I mean, Dismal's in the same boat as well. You got a couple of players you recognise from those online plays as well. And I mean, this is where everyone gathers for the first ACL Pro event on the national circuit. You know, over in Brisbane, first chance for, you know, it's a good excuse for people to go ahead and travel from where they might come from. Next up, though, we have frequency, and that's going to be consisting of Biz winning, Fibers, Big Fat Poo, and Leeds. Now, a little bit of a pickup team leading into this event. I know they've been, adding players to their roster as they've been able to find them. So, I don't really have that much background info on them. I don't know, how they're going to be playing out, but I mean, time will tell.
All I can tell you is that Biz Winning's a bro, and I can't wait to see how they play at LAN, and that one of his teammates might want to reconsider the legitimacy of his game attack. But moving on, that's frequency. Moving on, we've got Plantronics NV, which is Yosh the Lanimal. Let's see if he lives up to his name. Envious Kitty, Fergs, and Claw. Now, this Plantronics NV squad, these guys have been around for a long time in the Call of Duty scene. They always turn up. Again, I would describe these guys as more of a bread and butter squad. They're very consistent, great shots. And, at any time, they can just turn up. They have the ability to do that. So, if they catch a team off guard, a more established team off guard, they could pull a series away.
They definitely could. I mean, next up, one of my personal favorites once again, Trident Esports, having a little bit of some organization drama. They finally found their home back to where it all started. They're under Trident, and of course, that consists of Damage, Fate, Chilean, and Beaston. Now, a couple of their players, or 3 out of their 4 players, have competed, of course, over in Call of Duty Championships. 2 out of those 4 have competed 2 years in a row. Beaston, the younger player of the squad, he's going to have his chance to shine here in a LAN environment. Now, this lineup specifically hasn't been used before, but Beaston has played with the majority of these members at that does play Gold Coast LAN as well, in place of Chilean. So he was able to fill those shoes back then. With them side by side, anything can happen.
That's exactly right. Now, for those of you who didn't know, this is where a little bit of that drama is that we mentioned earlier, where 3 of these players were part of that Dota squad that went over to LA. Now, Issei obviously taken out and Beaston put in his place. So there may be hopeful. I'm hopeful just a little bit of a clash here between the teams. All friendly, of course, but I can't wait to see a game if it happens between those 2 squads. So keep an eye out for Advanced T1 and Trident Esports. So moving on, we've got 3 teams left. Crywolf, we've got Iron Pennants, Fudgy Cookie, Mr. Storm Go, and Bacon AU.
I mean, pickup team once again, it does seem leading into this event. Couple of familiar names, of course, from the Halo scene, you might remember, of course, a couple of the Halo girls competing. And I do believe either the majority of this lineup have just competed in a couple of the LANs and even online competitions, just as a little bit of pickup, a little bit of fun leading into this event. And I mean, that's what every event needs as well. But I mean, I just wanted to point out these last 3 teams are the teams that fought for that final spot that registered within seconds of the other. So I just thought that was another point to highlight now that we're at the bottom of the list. But you got F7 Stimulate, consisting of Nike, Braxton, Crads, and Stegs. Once again, familiar faces all around here for this team. Don't know how they're going to go together as a team, though. Don't know if if they've been together as a team for a long time, or if it's more of a pickup for this event itself. But it should be interesting nevertheless.
Look, at least Nike's going to be there to give us a bit of entertainment. Nike, a fan favourite. All right, shout out to Nike. I know you're going to be providing the entertainment for us there, mate. And then our last team, last but not least, clutching one of these final 3 spots was Citadel Gaming. We've got Citadel Cones, Axie, Lampy, and Kunjo. Look, again, not too much to say about these guys. I've seen a couple of their names around quite often, in fact, and expect them to put on a show as well. I mean, this is just one of those teams that, they're in the, when it comes to the scheme of things, if we speak honestly and unbiasedly, they kind of sit somewhere in the middle with the other teams, and these are the guys that are going to be battling it out with those really intense, last game of the series, kind of series with those other mid-range teams, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they go along with those other teams as well.
Yeah, once again, bracket, you have 4 teams in that pool play for that pro pool. Then you've got 6 teams each for 3 pools of that regular pool play stage. And I mean, with that, you then have, only 4 teams out of those 6 advancing from each of those pools. And that's going to be the top 4, of course, from them. So as you can see, the top 4 teams with the most MLG points have been seeded over into that pro pool. Of course, as you saw those pools earlier. And then the top 12 teams from pool play will advance to go over into the championship bracket, which will, of course, be a double elimination. Now, the bottom 6 teams from that pool play stage will go into their own respective consolation bracket, where they'll fight it off as well, just to get a little bit of extra game time and really finalize those seeds as well. Because, I mean, we have plenty of MLG pro points on the line here for this event, so every every placement matters.
It really does, Mike. And, we always love to see those consolation brackets. So those teams that aren't lucky enough to proceed through to the championship bracket, they can play off for those points and also just have a bit more fun at our LAN events. So we're getting towards the end of wrapping up this the Call of Duty segment here of our pre-game show. Now, I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, thanks again to our sponsors of ACL Pro Brisbane, our first event of 2015. So we've got the likes of Astro Game, who's coming in as our console headset sponsor. As you can see there on your screen, the A50 wireless headset. Very sexy, very comfortable. They've hooked us up with a few of those as well. So everyone participating on our main stage and the Astro feature station, which will be there. And also everyone playing Halo will get to use the sexy A40s actually supplied by Astro. And then, of course, our next sponsor is going to be BenQ. Now, these guys, just a little bit of trivia for you, Mike, and for those of you playing at home, BenQ has been, I believe, our longest serving sponsor here at ACL back in 2009, the Oz Halo 09 event. They came on board. So, look, love to have BenQ back again with their sexy monitors. And then, of course, we do have HyperX coming on as our SSD and memory sponsor. They're helping us out across console as well because they're just that generous, Mike, helping us out with some prize support. So thanks to our sponsors there for backing us at ACL Briz. The hashtag, of course, is hashtag ACL Briz. And, of course, one more announcement, Mike. For those of you who don't know, it's a bit of an unofficial announcement, so we don't have any graphics, but just something for those of you guys get the juice at home. We've got a little partnership happening with our friends over at Domino's Australia, and a whole lot of pizza is going to be delivered to our events on the weekend. Yeah, everyone loves a bit of pizza. So, look, I'm not suggesting you don't bring your lunchbox, kids, but there's going to be a lot of pizza there as well, thanks to our friends at Domino's. So, I mean...
Even I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Look, it's a surprise for everyone.
Really
but
is.
We're going to have that as well. So, we're really excited to have all those people backing us. So, that's pretty much ACL Brisbane, but... the show is not done yet, Mike, because we have previously announced our second event of the year, ACL Sydney. It's coming up.
June 27 and 28, of course, once again featuring both console titles. You're going to be seeing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare and Halo 2 Anniversary. Now, the highlight for this for me is that Call of Duty's prize pool bumped up $5,000 and 25,000 MLG Pro points. Doesn't that just stop you in your tracks?
God, 25,000 MLG Pro points. That is insane. And also something to note that isn't on our graphic here. No team cap for ACL Sydney. Yeah. So no team cap, none of this 20 teams business.
No
excuses. We're going
either.
hard, kids. No excuses. And also, I just want to, while we've got this graphic up, I just want to keep a reminder to you guys at home. As you saw with the Brisbane event, we have had kids trying to clutch those final few spots. So although we don't have a team cap yet, I do recommend that since ACL Sydney is only just over a month away, get in as soon as possible with your registrations, because eventually if we start filling up, there's going to be a limit somewhere eventually, but just make sure you get in there. You want your share of $5,000 prize pool and 25,000 MLG points. And of course, Sydney sees Halo 2 coming back yet again. People first questioned when we first announced Brisbane if Halo was just a one-off. No, Halo 2 Anniversary will be there at Sydney as well, and is ramping up a little bit of a Halo fest towards the, of course, the release of Halo 5 Guardians at the end of the year, Mike. So a lot of competitions coming up.
It definitely is. And I mean, hashtag WeBack is trending here for those Halo gamers. I mean, they're going to be excited for some more Halo competition because, as you mentioned, everyone was thinking it was going to be a one-off, maybe just come back for that one event. But no, it's going to continue. And I mean, it's one step forward to building up Halo as well. But they aren't the only titles featured at ACL Sydney coming up in June. They're also going to be featuring some more familiar PC titles, of course. CSGO featuring for the very first time at an ACL event. You had those qualifiers over the weekend as well to finalize those teams. $5,000 prize pool. Then going into StarCraft 2, a community favorite there from an ACL event. $4,000 prize pool as well. So it's just bound to be an exciting event with all those different ranges of games.
Yeah, well, obviously there was an uproar when we announced a console-only event at ACL Brisbane, but we're rewarding all of our PC Master Race. I'm going to get flack for that one.
Console
fans
Master
out there.
Race.
Yeah, look, debatable. We'll leave it at that. A lot of our PC fans out there, we're rewarding you. We're bringing Counter-Strike Global Offensive to the ACL Pro Circuit in a big way. $5,000 straight off the bat. First event at ACL Sydney in association with Macland. It is going to be a huge event.
It really is. Now, I just want to touch on a little bit of a mistake we actually made early on with the team rosters. For Mystic Gaming, it's actually Primo playing instead of Slow-Mo, instead of that one. So it's going to be Primo playing for that. I just want to correct that for those because, it was our fault with a little bit of an outdated page. So, corrected all that. That's Mystic Gaming's lineup, which still, of course, is going to be quite formidable at that. But, back on track to Sydney. I don't know what I'm more excited for because of the fact that first time seeing CSGO, I'm a console fanboy, but I do respect all those other PC games as well. But I wouldn't go so far to say PC Master Race.
No, look, I'm going to come clean. I haven't seen too much of it. I saw a little bit of CSGO from Katowice where they had something crazy like 1.1 million viewers for it. And then, of course, we had our qualifier, our first Counter-Strike Global Offensive stream last night. I know we had quite a few viewers for that. Thank you all for watching that and those who tuned in. I mean, it's a great game. I love watching FPS. I mean, that's where my heart is. So it was great to see. And of course, Sydney, our first LAN event. For those of you who may not have been to an ACL LAN event, if you're a Counter-Strike player and you're kind of questioning it, haven't been to one of our LAN events before, we want to see what your community has. Sign up for this event, the qualifier has already taken place. Show up to this event, show your support for it, let us know, watch the stream, tweet the stream, get it out on social media, because the more you support it and back it, it means the bigger events we can make, the more prize pool. Just we want to blow it up, and I'm pretty sure that's what everyone at home wants to do as well.
Yeah, I mean, as every event goes down, you always want to get that maximum support. With having 4 titles here for this event, it's going to be great. But, I mean, let's highlight just back on the event coming around the corner, shall we? We've got Call of Duty, we've got Halo, we've got 22 teams for one, 6 current teams for the other, potentially over to be 8 leading into the weekend. Registration is closing up quick. Just once again, want to highlight it again. Registration does close Thursday, 11:59 p.m. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Call of Duty's full, can't get a spot. However, teams have been changing their rosters, and we just also want to officially note that you won't be able to change it the day before the event either. You need to lock in those changes by the same date as well to make sure the pools are finalized. Now, I guess a little bit of a PSA and a side note, those pools are valid for these current lineups that we currently just listed. Teams might make a couple of changes, but one big change, one big influx of player points can completely change those pools around. So I guess it's a little bit of a friendly reminder that, if that was to happen, some things could change.
Yeah, that's right. And a great reminder that is, I do have another reminder, and it's going to be a little bit of a downer, but I'm going to bring us all back up after. So I'm going to quickly touch on our MA15 Plus policy. For those of you who don't know, you can find it on the Brisbane landing page at aclpro.com.au. There's a little button there, explains everything about our MA15 Plus policy. There's also a frequently asked questions section. So I just want to touch on that very quickly. One, it is a restricted 15 plus event. That applies to spectators as well. So there is no one under the age of 15 allowed at the event. That's even with parental supervision, any other kind of excuse. I've had so many things tweeted at me. No, if you're not 15 or over by the time of this weekend on Saturday, then you aren't able to come in. IDs will be checked at the door. You'll need photo ID to get in, and that applies to both players and spectators. Can't stress that enough, guys. There is hope for future. It's something that we're trying to review. We're looking into it because I know, look, some of our greatest players, Blue, Luca, they can't participate. And, that cuts me. The people think, the ACL, hierarchy, blah, blah, blah. It's not like that, guys. It's something that wasn't really in our control, but we are working on it, and we'll have an update in future. But I won't comment or speculate on that. But for Brisbane, it's going to be restricted for 15 plus. Now, Mike,
leaving a chance for some of the other players.
That's right. Look, Luke and Blue's taken one for the team just to get some of these other players up. But so look, that's that aside. Now I want to bring you back up. At the ACL Pro events, and what we've always done is, look, we've done, streams for console and streams for PC, and we've always had a couple of streams coming from our events. However, we have never had 2 streams for Call of Duty. I'm very proud to announce that we have an Alpha and Bravo stream for Call of Duty at ACL Brisbane. I am really stoked for that. Mike Star, as one of our headline casters, surely you're pretty stoked for that one as well.
I can't be more excited for that. As you mentioned, the first time for those 2 streams, and I'm a little bit proud to be one of those casters featuring on that new channel. For those, where can they find that brand new channel leading up to the event, Josh?
Of course, our usual channel will be used, which is mlg.tv/ACL. However, the next one, very creatively named, mlg.tv/ACL2, is where you'll find our Bravo stream. No. And don't forget, there will be just as intense action on the ACL2 stream as there will be the primary one, especially during pool play. And given 2 streams, we, of course, need more casters. So I'm very proud to also say that along with our headline caster, Mikeser, will be Bioacid and Dr. Curry, household names for those of you out in the Call of Duty scene. And joining them will be Lockdog, my man, over from the Does Play crew. And joining him will be our cast-off entrance, Vector, who you would have seen a few times before on our rival nights. And joining them, Benny Sim, from, I think he's helping out the Advanced squad right now. So we've got Vector and Benny Sim with Lockdog as well. So we've got 6 casters. I'll be coming in for a cameo here and there. I'll be on hosting duties. Along with me will be the very lovely Artemis. So it is going to be a great event. We're going to bring you guys all of the action, all the content. Mike over here is going to be carrying all the casters, I'm sure. We're going to bring you guys all of the action. So you can see that on mlg.tv/ACL and ACL2. Make sure you're helping us trend it on Twitter. The hashtag is ACL Briz. Keep an eye on that hashtag. That's where you'll see all of the information and details for the event, all of the gossip, all the chats. And that's pretty much it. So we're starting to wrap things up here. Mike, I just want to get your final thoughts on the event because, look, I need to just chill for a second. I need to calm this farm. Let me know your thoughts on it.
I mean, leading up into the event, many people, speculating, how the event's going to turn out. We had a team cap at the beginning for Call of Duty. People were like, there's going to be many more teams. It was a little slow, not going to lie, a little slow for those registrations to actually poll on in, and then they just came on blooming straight after that. We hit that cap and then some. Halo is going to be great as well. And, I mean, you mentioned the first time for 2 Call of Duty streams, and what that means is not, we also have our main stage and our feature station as well. We've got the Astro Gaming feature station as well. This event's going to be the first of the first for a lot of things here at ACL, and I think it's just going to be great.
There has never been a time where we've given so much to the Call of Duty community. We're doing our best to make things blow up and get bigger and better, and ACL always says take it to the next level, and we feel like we've been doing that, and we're trying to bring it out for you guys, to bring out the big guns for our first event of the 2015 season. So that's going to be wrapping things up. I just want to say one more time, ACL Brisbane can't happen without the amazing support of our sponsors, Astro Gaming, BenQ, and HyperX, helping the console scene happen at the ACL Pro Circuit 2015. So that's us. Keep an eye on that hashtag. Once again, it's ACL Briz. Follow us on Twitter at ACL Pro for all of the action information coming from ACL Brisbane this weekend from the Edge at Southbank. But for now, that's going to do us. I'm in Maniac, joined by Mike Star. We'll catch you guys this weekend.